Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad.
Welcome, everyone, to an exciting episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And oh my god, today is going to possibly be the biggest episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast in a long time, because it has been such a while since there have been so many major announcements and so many major news in the entertainment and animation field, all happening in 1 week all together. I can tell you right now that the news that I have for you today, each and every single one of them, would deserve their own headline under normal circumstances. But because all this has happened at once, we are going to be covering all of this in one major go. So there is going to be a possibility that maybe this could actually go on for like over 2 hours. You never know. But anyways, I think it's all going to be worth it, because it is worth checking out each of these big news, each to go and fully discuss about all these major things. So let's not waste any more time. I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you all, are you all ready for this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Are you all prepared for the big news that has been revealed this week that we are going to talk about? Let me hear it. Are you all ready? Let's see here. All right, let's see. Yes. That is perfect. That is beautiful. That's great to hear. And now it is time that we shall officially go and get things started. And with the first story that I have for you today, now I've seen some people even debate that when it comes to the first big story that I have over here, that it would probably require an entire episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast all on its own. And honestly, I do not blame them for thinking that, because this was something where one night they just revealed so many things at once. There have been so many major announcements during that one little period that went on for like 2.5 hours, I believe. And just on that segment alone of just creative announcements of what kind of content that they would release. And you know, the crazy thing is that that was happening at the same time as the Game Awards. So it wasn't enough that those announcements occurred. It wasn't enough that Sephiroth has been announced for Smash Ultimate. But now they would also go and include these major announcements as well. So with that said, let us now go and dive into Disney Investor Day 2020. Yes, what happened was that Disney put up a special presentation, a live stream per se, presenting all the upcoming content and their major business plans that they have in store for the company's future, for the Walt Disney Company. But for this one, however, they primarily focus on their new priority. As you probably have heard in the past, the company has decided to go and make some priority switches where now their streaming services and their direct-to-consumer products are going to take the highest priority. So in this case, it's going to be regarding Disney+. But of course, not just regarding Disney+, but also many of their other streaming services that they do own, including Star, including Hulu, including ESPN+, along with a few others as well. So it was mainly to go and highlight the business aspect and to discuss about what the plan of the company is going to be moving forward in the 2020 decade, including like in 2021, 2022, and all that kind of stuff. Including giving updates regarding how it has been with Disney+. Like, one major thing that they have revealed is that apparently things are going much better than expected when it comes to the streaming service, where with Disney Plus alone, they have collected, I believe, if the number I recall is correct, it's like somewhere around 86.7 or 86.8 million subscribers right now. If I am wrong, you can go and correct me on that. But yeah, so far, it's been going much better than they've expected, because they were thinking around the next 3 years they would get somewhere around 60 to 90 million subscribers. So that could be a major case. But the business aspect is not necessarily something people necessarily care about. They want to know about what is going to be the upcoming lineup that they have. And oh man, Disney has made some massive announcements in terms of not just the upcoming content that's coming to Disney Plus, but also the content that will also be coming in theaters. And we're going to be reviewing them one by one. So first things off, before we even get into the Disney stuff, I want to go and look into the other things that they have revealed. Let's see, and, okay, some people might have corrected, I heard it was 86, but I know there was a specific, I know it's like 86 million something, but I don't know, like, the specific numbers that they have mentioned. What did it say here, actually? Oh, yes, 86.8 million subscribers, okay, it's right here, which, by the way, I am using my source here on the D23 website, which, if you want to know, like, a summary of all the major announcements that they have made, go to this article on D23, every Disney Plus announcement and more from Disney Investor Day 2020. It would cover everything that you need to know in a very orderly and proper fashion that it's just easy to understand. But anyways, let's get into the content that they have revealed, starting off with what's going to be happening for ESPN Plus. And they have revealed a whole bunch of new major announcements, and some of these would include a reimagined version of Sports Nation that will be coming back every weekday morning on ESPN Plus starting at the beginning of next year. They have also revealed a new season of Peyton's Place, in which it will be featuring a lot of prominent athletes, including Abby Wambach, Ronda Rousey. Really? Ronda Rousey is still a thing? David Orvitz, and also Peyton Manning's brother, Eli. On top of that, they have also revealed a new program for ESPN Plus called Stephen A's World, which will be entering into the mind of Stephen A. Smith, and also a new 9-part documentary series called Man in the Area, Tom Brady, in which it will chronicle every moment that Tom Brady has won the Super Bowl and, like, what was his mindset. You know, kind of like that basketball documentary with Michael Jordan earlier this year. But except in this case, I don't think a lot of people would really be excited about this one, considering it is Tom Brady. And, like, I'm starting to see a lot of comments in the sports world that Tom Brady is very much an overrated athlete. But anyways, that's pretty much all the content and also some of the announcements that they have revealed for ESPN Plus. And this is on top as well as a new 10-year agreement with Southeastern Conference, and also mentioning that the deal will also bring select SEC football games to ESPN Plus, beginning with the 2021 football season. So basically, if you want to know a lot about football, then ESPN Plus is a major area that you could go to. So it really shows that now Disney is going to be taking ESPN very seriously, and they want to find out a way on how to adapt ESPN and also sportscasting onto a post-pandemic world. So they're pretty much really prepared for that and really hyping up ESPN Plus to become, like, the big sports streaming service, like the definitive sports streaming service, or maybe leaning more towards the American aspect of it, since a lot of the announcements are related to football, especially with the Tom Brady one, and also with the fact that they got the Southeastern Conference as well. So it could lean more into, like, those American sports more so than it would be for most of the other sports. But then again, it will mostly be Americans that will be consuming ESPN Plus. Okay, so with that down, let's go ahead and go straight up to talk about a little bit of the upcoming content that will be... Oh, actually, before we get into the other streaming service, let's go and talk about National Geographic, because National Geographic has revealed a whole bunch of new documentaries that are going to be coming up. There's going to be a documentary about Cousteau, or it's called Cousteau, but it's going to be looking into the legendary... what was... I forgot the name of it. Crap. I was like, the marine biologist. Yeah, the legendary marine biologist, Jean Cousteau. There's also going to be a documentary called Secret of the Whales, A Real Bug's Life, and America the Beautiful. So if you want some nature documentaries that talk about animals, then you could go and check those out. But on top of that, there's also going to be some special documentaries that will feature some A-list celebrities as well. There's also going to be Limitless with Chris Hemsworth, Welcome to Earth that will feature Will Smith, and a documentary or a new season of Genius, in which in the new one it will be about Martin Luther King Jr. So, of course, with National Geographic, there is no shortage of documentaries that they want to bring in, and I guess it's kind of funny that Disney no longer needs Disney Nature. Like, remember when that was a thing, when Disney wanted to make their own brand of, like, nature documentaries and stuff? I guess now that's unnecessary, because now they got National Geographic, and they'll let them do the Disney Nature job for them. Especially, like, when you got, like, documentaries on whales, on bugs, and then also of American wildlife as well. So, for those documentaries, they'll definitely have that lineup going up. Alright, but with that said, let's now jump into the other streaming services that they have as well, specifically with Hulu and Star. And for those two streaming services, one major thing that they have revealed is that they made a multi-year deal with the Kardashian-Jenner's family, where they will be providing some new content on Hulu and on Star as well, where Hulu will be provided for American audiences, while international people will be receiving it on Star. So I'm sure all of you are definitely excited to know more about what's been happening with the Kardashians, of course. But anyways, in all seriousness, they also revealed a whole bunch of new shows as well, including some new series that are going to be coming from FX. The FX shows that are going to be appearing soon will include The Old Man, American Horror Stories, Platform, Reservation Dogs, and Why the Last Man. On top of that, there are also shows that feature some big-name celebrities, and these are the ones that will be hyped up the most for both Hulu and Star. One of these is Only Murders in the Building, which is going to be a new series that will reunite Steve Martin and Martin Short, and they will be joined by Selena Gomez. But then on top of that, there's also The Dropout, which tells the story of a con artist that captured the world by the name of Elizabeth Holmes, which I read a little bit from the D23 website, and she will be played by Kate McKinnon. And finally, there's going to be a new drama series called Dope Sick that will be featuring actors such as Michael Keaton, Peter Sarsgaard, and Rosario Dawson. And I might as well go and add on to this by looking into the shows that are just going to be for Hulu. And for those Hulu-specific stuff, they have revealed some new seasons for some of their biggest shows, like a brand new season of The Handmaid's Tale, and of course, not just one, not two, not three, but 4 more seasons of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So... right now, like, how many seasons are they at right now? I think, like, now the count is, like, up to 18 or something like that. But anyways, they have also revealed some other major series that will be coming to Netflix on Hulu that will be massively anticipated. These include 9 Perfect Strangers that will star Nicole Kidman, a series based on the classic franchise Alien, and also a drama series that will be based on the Rolling Stones called The Stones. And on top of that, probably their biggest one that they are hyping up, or probably the biggest announcement from FX, is that they are going to be releasing an epic Game of Thrones style series that will be set in feudal Japan called Shogun. So that they have been mentioning that this is going to be one that people will need to go and keep an eye on. So, of course, it seems that with their plans for the other streaming services, I guess this pretty much shows that Disney is not necessarily that interested in trying to do that rumor of like blending Disney Plus with Hulu. I remember, I think it was just recently, like either last week or maybe even this week, that there was that rumor that they would blend the two together, and it doesn't seem to be the case because they're still prominently presenting Hulu as its own entity. And along with that, they were also highlighting Star as kind of like the international Hulu as well, which is why they mention about like all the different shows that would be appearing in both as well. But really, this is a massive promise that they are going to provide some great new shows and the comeback of like beloved shows as well. But like one thing that really is highlighted is that whenever they got more mature non-Disney projects that they really want to go and hype up, it's definitely going to be on Hulu. Especially, it seems like some of the biggest shows that they have announced really is the case with the Alien series and also with Shogun. And I think those are going to be two that people will definitely going to go and keep an eye on when it's going to be coming on Hulu, especially with Alien. I think like already right there, people are just massively hyping up to see how that Alien series is going to be, especially when with that one, I believe they say that for the Alien series, it's going to be set on Earth, so it will bring up a brand new interesting chapter into the franchise. So yeah, I could definitely see that they really are hyping up Hulu to really make it more its worth as its own entity. And I think this could be like a confirmation that no, those rumors about mixing Disney Plus with Hulu, that's not going to happen. Disney is going to keep them separate as their own respective things, and it definitely shows that Hulu will be having its own identity. Okay, but with that said, let us now go into some of Disney's bigger properties, like some of the real big ones that a lot of people are really anticipating about. And first things first, let's go into the realm of Lucasfilm, because as you guys know right now, Disney is really going crazy with Star Wars right now. They already released the sequel trilogy and already did a couple of film spin-offs like Rogue One and Solo, but now they are gonna go really all in to make Disney Plus a true home for the Star Wars franchise, especially when they have been doing so well with The Mandalorian. In fact, they have revealed a whole bunch of brand new shows that are going to be coming for Disney+. First things first, they did confirm about the Obi-Wan series that's going to be called Obi-Wan Kenobi, but the real special thing that they have revealed is that not only Ewan McGregor is returning as Obi-Wan, but also Hayden Christensen is going to be coming back, reprising his role as Anakin, or more specifically, he's going to be Darth Vader right now. But, speaking of Mandalorian, by the way, it looks like not one, but two spin-off series are going to be coming from that show in particular. More specifically, Rangers of the New Republic, and of course, Ahsoka, since just recently, Ahsoka Tano, played by Rosario Dawson, already made her appearance in The Mandalorian in what I have to say is a pretty epic episode. Like, that's definitely one of the standout episodes of Season 2, if I may put in my commentary on that. But that is not all. They have also revealed a whole bunch of other shows that are going to be coming to Disney Plus in the world of Star Wars. These include a Lando Calrissian series called Lando. Of course, they revealed a little bit more info about the Rogue One prequel series, in which now is going to be called Andor. They also revealed another series called The Acolytes, and even some animated shows as well, including Star Wars The Bad Batch, and a droid story, which that one will be narrated by C-3PO and R2-D2. And probably one of the most interesting projects that they have revealed is going to be Star Wars Visions, in which that one is not going to be a series in particular, but it's actually going to be a collection of animated shorts in which it's going to be made by prominent Japanese animation studios, making their piece in tribute to Star Wars. So if you want to see a couple of short Star Wars animes, then Star Wars Vision is going to be for you. But possibly the biggest announcement in terms of Star Wars is going to be the next Star Wars movie. They have revealed what's going to be the next one, and so far the hype is massively on, because right now the next Star Wars movie that's going to be coming in December of 2023 is going to be called Rogue Squadron, which will be directed by none other than Wonder Woman's very own Patty Jenkins. So that's the big thing that they have revealed. But there's also more that they have mentioned. Now, keep in mind, I said that this is the Lucasfilm section. This is not the Star Wars section. And now, after all these years after Disney has purchased Lucasfilm, they are finally going to go and fully acknowledge that Lucasfilm has a lot more projects, more so than just Star Wars. First and foremost, of course, the Willow series, in which they have confirmed that not only John M. Chu is going to be directing the pilot episode, but Warwick Davis as well is going to be coming back in the title role. But as well, they have also confirmed that Indiana Jones is not done yet. They are not giving up on the Indiana Jones movie, in which not only Harrison Ford is coming back, but also confirmed that it will be directed by James Mangold. Oh, and I almost forgot, actually. I don't know why they put this separate here, but they did also mention that, yes, there will indeed be another Star Wars movie directed by Taika Waititi. Oh, well, directed and written by Taika Waititi. So that's going to be another thing that will be highly anticipated and people should go and keep an eye on. But as well, finally, they have mentioned that they are going to do a new original movie, which will be based on the Tommy Adeyemi's New York Times bestselling novel, Children of Blood and Bone. So that's going to be another thing that they will be coming out. And I think really the big plan here, from what I could tell, Disney is very much going to be expanding upon the Star Wars world and really putting the full use of the Lucasfilm brand, where now they are starting to be fully committed into going into the other properties that they got as well, like Willow and Indiana Jones and stuff like that, and even some of their original content with what they're going to be bringing out with Children of Blood and Bone. There's also going to be that as well. But from what I can tell, yeah, like, I think this is really meant to go and fully establish that Star Wars is going to be the home of, Disney Plus is going to be the home of Star Wars, and they're really going to go and expand on that more so than just The Mandalorian. And you got to keep in mind, there are many people out there who have Disney Plus purely because of The Mandalorian. Like, I think I think season 2 is going to be closing soon. They only have a few episodes left. So, like, after that, then people are not really going to be that much interested. But then, after these announcements with what people have in store, with what Disney has in store, like, not just with more Mandalorian, but also revealing that they got tons more series that are going to be coming up, like Rangers of the New Republic, Ahsoka, and then all these other shows that they got, like Star Wars The Bad Batch, which would go and expand upon the animated Clone Wars series, other shows like Lando, Andor, a Droid Story, and even like that little bonus with Star Wars Visions. Like, it's gonna bring in a lot more Star Wars content, so the Star Wars fans will have a legitimate reason to stay on Disney Plus, not just for The Mandalorian. And I think this is going to be a pretty smart strategy that they got there. And this is not even mentioning some of the bigger news that they have revealed, including what they will have in store with Rogue Squadron, with the Taika Waititi movie, and with Indiana Jones, and some of their other projects. And I'm sure that those movies are going to be massively hyped up. Like, say what you will about the sequel trilogy, but I think, honestly, what Disney wants to go and emphasize is that we have entered upon a brand new chapter in the Star Wars franchise, or a brand new chapter in Star Wars history, which is why they really are prepared to go and hype everything up to make it like a prime reason to why you should go and get Disney Plus, is to go and stick around for many of the big projects that they will have in store, especially if you've been enjoying the content that they already got right now, especially with especially with Mandalorian, but also going back to some of the past as well, like with Obi-Wan. That's another major franchise that's going to be hyped up. And even for fans of like some of the recent movies, like with Rogue One, then they'll have Andor as well. So it's really Star Wars content for everyone. And I'm sure that once these shows are going to hit, then there is going to be a chance that we will see Disney Plus becoming more and more of a threatening competitor to Netflix. All right, but that's just for Lucasfilm, though. We still have plenty more to go. And for the next one, let's go and talk about some of the Marvel stuff. Hey, I'm sure some of you all are some Marvel fans over here. So with Marvel, of course, a lot of these things we have already known, but the key element for Investor Day was to go and give them their first ever look at it, to give the public their first look at many of these big anticipated projects, especially when Disney wants to go and create brand new Disney Plus original series that is going to be connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially in the case of shows such as Loki, WandaVision, in which that one is going to be coming soon. And then you also got Miss Marvel, and then you got the animated What If series, and as well as revealing new info for Hawkeye, for She-Hulk, for Moon Knight, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. How the fridge could I forget that? And on top of that, they have also revealed some brand new series as well. There's going to be Secret Invasion that will be starring Nick Fury with Samuel L. Jackson. Then you got Ironheart that will star Dominique Throne as a genius inventor. And then, of course, we actually got a War Machine series that's going to be called Armor Wars. So those are just the series that they have been announcing. But also, one prominent thing that they have massively announced is that there's going to be a lot more Guardians of the Galaxy content than we are expecting. Considering that James Gunn did return to the franchise, and that he is going to be working on the third film, which is confirmed to be released sometime in 2023, I believe. Not only is there going to be that, but as well, apparently there is also going to be a holiday special and a new series with a bunch of animated shorts called I Am Groot. So yeah, if you want more Guardians of the Galaxy, trust me, Marvel is definitely going to fill that up for you. But not only that, it's not just the series that they want to go and show off. There's also a whole bunch of movies that they want to talk about, and trust me, the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is highly prominent, with stuff like Blade, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, Thor Love and Thunder, which, by the way, for Thor Love and Thunder, I just want to mention that apparently they have confirmed that Christian Bale is going to be in the movie playing the role as Gore, I think. I believe that is the character. And yes, they even mentioned for that they will still be doing Black Panther 2. They'll still do the sequel. However, they will not go and cast and recast Chadwick Boseman to play the role of King T'Challa. They're going to continue forward with Black Panther Part 2 without him. So they're going to go and do that. But the biggest announcement that they have done is actually going to be regarding two new Marvel movies that are going to be coming up. The first of which is actually going to be the third Ant-Man movie called Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And possibly the biggest of them all, the biggest reveal that they got here is this big number 4. Yes, possibly what people were anticipating the most when Disney and Fox merged together is that now finally Fantastic Four is finally coming to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I believe that they have announced that John Watts, the man who has directed the two recent Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man movies, will be in charge of directing this project in particular. So really, in terms of the news of what they got with Marvel, a lot of it is stuff that people already do know. I would even comment that in terms of the announcements, Marvel offered a bit of minimal stuff. Really, it's more about showing you what they have in store that you probably already know about. It's to give you your first looks onto several of their big projects. These include like Miss Marvel or Loki, and even more of WandaVision and stuff like that. And really, some of the bigger announcements are more regarding the Netflix shows that they do have in store, because that's also another massive thing people are highly anticipating about Disney Plus. It's the fact that now the Marvel Cinematic Universe can really be expanded onto some series that they could follow every week, or maybe Disney is just going to pitch all the episodes all together. I mean, who knows? Maybe the Mandalorian system has been going very well for them, so I wouldn't be surprised if they would also do the same thing for this one in particular as well. So those are going to be, so I think really they will mention that the future is definitely going to be a mix of both the movies but also the shows as well, for people to go and keep up with the cinematic universe and have an update on how other characters are doing, such as Loki and also War Machine, but as well as introducing new characters to later play a very significant role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, such as Miss Marvel or Ironheart and stuff like that. And especially, I think honestly though, like, there's no denying one of the biggest announcements is indeed going to be Fantastic Four coming onto the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that is actually going to be very interesting, considering that Fantastic Four never really had much luck in terms of theatrical features, especially after that 2015 disaster known as Fan Four Stick. So hopefully they will redeem their reputation after that. But then again, I do have confidence in John Watts and the Marvel team in order to bring like a very solid Fantastic Four movie. If they're able to redeem Spider-Man after the disastrous Amazing Spider-Man movies, then I think they could do well with Fantastic Four. So that's going to be fun to go and anticipate and, of course, check out. Okay, but I think finally I've covered every single thing that is not directly Disney onto this. Oh yes, there is still much more to cover. And now, finally, we can actually go and talk about the Disney projects, the ones that are directly Disney. So here we go. Let's get into these ones right now. And the first one I'm going to be covering is going to be the TV shows that they have coming up for Disney Plus. And they have announced several things and revealed several surprises. Well, actually, most of them are going to be surprises, considering that the one project that everyone was aware about is actually going to be regarding the prequel series to the 2017 Beauty and the Beast remake, in which they have confirmed that Alan Menken, as well as Luke Evans and Josh Gad, are going to be coming back to reprise their roles, with Alan Menken providing new music, and Luke Evans and Josh Gad going to be coming back to star in the series as Gaston and LeFou, respectively. But as well, they have also revealed some other new major series that are going to be coming up, including a reimagining of Swiss Family Robinson. I am quite surprised that Disney is coming back to that franchise. And this is going to be a series that is going to be in charge by Ron Moore and John M. Chu, speaking of. And also, this is actually something that is rumored, but now has been fully confirmed to be true, is that Disney Plus is indeed going to be making a Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. And speaking of Fantastic Four, this is also another series that hasn't been doing much luck so far in terms of adaptations. Not just with the movies, but apparently I have heard even the Broadway version of Percy Jackson has been a little bit disastrous as well. So hopefully maybe Percy Jackson can get a bit of a second chance here on Disney Plus. That, or it might just end up becoming another Artemis Fowl. We'll just wait and see. But then as well, they have revealed other projects that are going to be in the works that are going to be live action series, including the Mighty Ducks Game Changers, in which they are going to bring back Emilio Estevez as Gordon Bombay. And on top of that, they have revealed a Turner and Hooch series in which Josh Peck will be taking on the role that originated by Tom Hanks. And then as well, there's going to be a Big Shot series. Now, what is Big Shot, you may ask? Well, apparently it says that it is a celebration of girl power set in the world of high school basketball. And I'm not going to lie, when I saw a little bit of that trailer, it just seems a bit generic, honestly. It's like a prominent basketball coach who's a bit hot-headed. He pretty much got down into the ranks where now he has to go and coach for a high school basketball team and grows a bond with them. What the fridge? You guys know that story. So anyways, finally, the last big announcement in terms of the series on Disney Plus they have revealed is going to be the Mysterious Benedict Society, based on the international best-selling book, which will be featuring Tony Hale and Christian Schall. So as you could tell, a lot of these are pretty much based on something. Like, there's not a whole lot of originality, but then again, I could see how these things are massively anticipated, especially when it comes to Percy Jackson, or maybe even a bit of, like, the Mysterious Benedict story as well, but also throwing in some nostalgia when you would have something like The Mighty Ducks and Turner and Hooch. And then, of course, you got that Beauty and the Beast series that is in the works as well. So there is that to go and highlight in this story here. But then you would have the movies, and oh man, did Disney put out a bunch of interesting movies that are going to be coming out both for theaters and on Disney Plus. Now, first and foremost, what Disney has done is that they have confirmed some long-time rumors, and that's like one of the big things that they have done when it comes to their live-action movies. Like, one major rumor that they have finally confirmed is that Hocus Pocus 2 will be happening on Disney Plus, so that is officially confirmed. And on top of that, they're also going to be bringing back other nostalgic movies as well, including a reboot of Three Men and a Baby starring Zac Efron, and also Cheaper by the Dozen is going to be getting a reboot as well. And on top of that, there's going to be a sequel to Sister Act. Yes, there's going to be a Sister Act 3, in which Whoopi Goldberg is going to be coming back, and Tyler Perry is going to be coming in as a producer. But on top of that, they have also revealed some major announcements. Now they have confirmed some of these big things for Disney Plus. Yes, indeed, there will be a movie of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, but this one is going to be a whole lot different than you may expect. Because yes, it is going to be a live-action animation hybrid, but now they have confirmed that not only that John Mulaney and Andy Samberg is going to be starring in it, and I believe one of the members of The Lonely Island is also going to be directing it, but also they've mentioned that apparently the movie will be set in a Who Framed Roger Rabbit style world, in which it's going to be this universe in which live-action people and cartoon characters exist in the same world, and it will reflect upon the modern times, where it will be featuring some traditionally animated characters and some CGI characters. But on top of that, they have also confirmed that there will be some other major movies that will just be appearing on Disney Plus. One of which being the sequel to Enchanted called Disenchanted, in which they're bringing back Amy Adams as Princess Giselle. The Peter Pan reboot, which will be, or the Peter Pan live-action remake called Peter Pan and Wendy is coming, and also have confirmed the Pinocchio remake that they're going to do, which will be directed by Robert Zemeckis and Tom Hanks, that they have also revealed some concept art, a little bit of concept art for it, which I need to go and quickly comment, because I will admit it did like bring me in a little bit. Like it I will admit, like, that little presentation that they had, it did suck me in just a tiny bit, and that's just because I am a sucker for that nice little rendition of When You Wish Upon a Star. But on top of that, I just want to mention that if you do look into the concept art that they have provided so far, I'm just gonna say, it looks like Pinocchio is just going to be the exact same as the animated film. That it looks like they're just going to take Pinocchio that we know, and they're just going to turn him into 3D. A little bit like the same thing that they've done like in Kingdom Hearts. So if that really is the case, then honestly, I might be cautiously optimistic about this. And also, I don't know if this is confirmed, but they have also mentioned, I heard somewhere that apparently they got Alan Cumming coming in, playing as Honest John. And I know Alan Cummings has been in a lot of really cringy and terrible movies, but he is still a great actor nonetheless. And that guy playing as Honest John, if that is the case, oh man, I am so hyped to see how that's gonna go, especially when Honest John is my personal favorite character in the Pinocchio movie. Alright, but anyways, let's go and continue on to some of the other announcements that they have done with the live action movies. One of which is going to be some biographical features as well. Disney has revealed that for Disney Plus, there's going to be one called Greek Freak, which is going to be a biography on NBA star Giannis Antetokounmpo, as well as biographies on Keaton Lowe and Chris Paul. But on top of that, they have mentioned that yes, there will still be some major movies released in theaters like The Jungle Cruise, Cruella, The Lion King prequel, and of course The Little Mermaid, in which for the latter, they have confirmed that not only is Melissa McCarthy going to be playing the role of Ursula, but have revealed that Daveed Diggs, the man who is known to play as Lafayette and Thomas Jefferson from Hamilton, he is actually going to be playing the role of Sebastian, funny enough. But as well, they have mentioned that there will be some animated projects that will be coming to Disney Plus from 20th Century Studios. And they're actually going to be interesting adaptations. These include Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Night at the Museum, and a brand new Ice Age movie called The Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. So this is pretty much all the major announcements that they have done in terms of the live-action Disney movies that they have provided, plus a few extras as well. And there are a few that do stand out to me that I do want to go and make a comment. And like, yeah, it's interesting that we see like a lot of confirmed stuff like Disenchanted or Hocus Pocus 2, or like the remakes of, or the reboots of like Three Men and a Baby and Cheaper by the Dozen and stuff like that. But then on top of that, you do have Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, and this seems a little bit interesting, and although the concept does sound great, and it would seem like it's right up my alley, I honestly don't know how to feel about this one. I don't know, like, one thing I will say, first of all, is that I'm getting a bit of Alvin and the Chipmunk vibes, and I mean, like, the Alvin and the Chipmunk movies, mainly because of the fact that they pointlessly brought in celebrities to go and voice Chip and Dale when their voices are going to be altered anyways. Like with John Mulaney and Andy Samberg. And I just gotta say, I know I've said this before. Andy Samberg is a great guy, and he can be really funny, and he's capable of making some great movies as well. Like with The Lonely Island, he's freaking hilarious with his group. And just recently, I believe there's this movie that he just brought out called Palm Beach or something like that, that I've heard some amazing things about it. But, with the exception of Storks, when you have him voice a cartoon character, he can be the most cringy individual you can ever meet, and you just want to take your chair and just throw it at the guy. Like, holy crap. I really do hope that it's not the case with Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. And also, I just want to comment that, especially with the plot that, or the setting that is very similar to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, it's kind of weird that they would go with Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. Like, I don't know, it sounds like, with the plot line that they might have, it just sounds like they're doing an adaptation of Bonkers or something, but instead of Bonkers or even Roger Rabbit, they decided to go with Chip 'n Dale. I honestly don't know why. But I will say, though, so yeah, honestly, with Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, I'm a little iffy on that one right now, so I don't know if it left the best impression for me. So, but anyways, I will say, though, that if there is one project that I am the least excited about, probably the one movie that I know I'm gonna freaking hate, it's the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. Because not only are they making another Ice Age movie, but get this, from what I've heard apparently, is that this is going to be a spin-off film that will be starring Buck and Crash and Eddie. Oh boy! We're bringing in some of the cringiest and worst characters of the whole Ice Age franchise, and give them their own movie. Not Sid, not Manny, not Diego, not any of those guys, no. Just the cringy ones. And I know Buck was a lot of fun in the third film, but if you have seen the fifth movie, good God, he's like nearly intolerable. So honestly, with those characters, oh man, no, I'm not excited for this. No, why Disney? Like that's on you. I can't even blame Blue Sky. That's on you, Disney. I get you want to try to do more stuff with Ice Age, but still, oh God, this is not gonna go well. Trust me. But anyways, let's go and move on to the next one that we got here. And I've saved the animation stuff for last because there's definitely a good amount of stuff to go and discuss over here. And the first one that we have is going to be regarding Walt Disney Animation Studios. And the first thing that they have revealed, and probably one of the first major announcements that they have done in Investors Day, is actually with Raya and the Last Dragon, because not only have they revealed a whole bunch of brand new characters, ooh, excuse me, there we go, but on top of that, the biggest announcement that they have done with that film is that it's going to go into the Warner Brothers route, where not only are they going to go and release it in theaters on March 5th, but they will simultaneously release it on Disney Plus with a premium access of $30, just like what they just did with the Mulan remake, which honestly, I'm not surprised that Disney eventually came back to the premium access. Yeah, they mentioned, oh, it's just going to be a one-time thing. Nah. We know what you're trying to do there, dude. Anyways, moving right along, another thing that they have revealed is finally the confirmation of a movie that a lot of people have heard about, but now it is officially true. It's going to be Enchanto, the movie that will be set in Colombia with a magical family. And in there, yes, it will be directed by Byron Howard and Jared Bush, as well as being co-directed and co-written by Charisse Castro-Smith, but as well, it will be including music by Lin-Manuel Miranda. But funny enough, it's not gonna be the movies that are the major thing about Disney Animation's announcements. It is actually going to be regarding a new territory that Walt Disney Animation Studios is actually going to go into, and that is actually creating series. And they got a whole bunch of new series that are going to be coming up based on some of their more recent hits that will be coming to Disney Plus. So in 2022, apparently, there's going to be a new animated series based on Baymax from Big Hero 6, a new Zootopia series called Zootopia Plus, and also Tiana, which is going to be based on the main character of The Princess and the Frog, and that's all going to be coming in 2022. But as well, in 2023, they have revealed that they're going to do a Moana series as well. But the most interesting project of them all is not really the stuff that's based on an existing property, but rather a new original series, which is also going to be their first time major collaboration with another company, which in this case is actually a small Pan-African comic book entertainment company called Kugali, in which they will work together in order to make a brand new series called Iwaju. And I will say, like, as fascinating as it is to learn about these brand new shows, and it's going to be really interesting to see how Disney Animation is going to be making their own TV shows and creating their own series instead of just relying on other companies to do the shows for them, like what we have recently seen with stuff like Tangled the series or even the Big Hero 6 series. But as well, doing it on their own, it's going to be, honestly, I feel like these are going to be ones that we might have to keep an eye on, and I'm sure some of these are already highly anticipated. Like, a lot of people are already talking about Moana, but especially the case with Tiana, that they have revealed that they're going to go and make more content with the Black Disney Princess. And one major debate that people are having right now, not only hoping that there's going to be a lot of people of color, and especially women of color, that will be taking charge of this project, but they are wondering if it is going to be hand-drawn animated, just like in the animated feature. But then again, that would remain to be seen. I would also not be surprised either if Disney would go into the Ralph Breaks the Internet route and turn Tiana into a CG character. So there is that possibility as well, but we will have to wait and see. But I do feel like the most overlooked story, the most underappreciated story that has been revealed is honestly the thing with Iwaju. Yes, nobody really knows what this project is about, and unfortunately not many people are really that interested, but I really do feel like it is a massively big deal that this African webcomic company, like the small Nigerian company that just makes a bunch of little webcomics, that they are teaming up with the most prominent and most renowned animation studio in the business, working together to create this brand new series. Like, that I feel like is a massive big deal, and I feel like that is a big we made it kind of story. So, and especially with the concept that they did bring up, that it's going to be a story about social classes, and especially making African art highly prominent, I feel like that could be something that would be very interesting, and it's not talked a lot as much as it should be. So I feel like, honestly, out of all the shows out there, like, as much as I would be hyped up for stuff like Zootopia Plus or Moana, I would probably keep my eye on the most on Iwaju and see, like, where that really goes. But I probably saved the best one for last right now, and this is gonna be the biggest announcements that have been revealed in all of this, or at least the biggest announcements that are not either Star Wars or Marvel. Pixar. And man, does Pixar have some major announcements over here. And the big thing that they have announced is that they are indeed going to be working on some new series. Yes, they have some little things and some little projects coming up, including revealing that, yes, in a few weeks we are going to get Soul, we are going to get the Spark Short Burrow, but they have also gone a little deeper into talking about what they have in store with stuff like Inside Pixar, or Pixar Popcorn, which is a bunch of little quick shorts that will feature some of the existing characters in the Pixar universe. But on top of that, they have also revealed a whole bunch of new series, or just 3 new series that are going to be coming up. Next year, in the fall of 2021, there's going to be a new show called Doug Days, which will be an Up spin-off starring Doug and Carl, where they're just living together, and it's mainly going to be looking into Doug's life now that he has Carl as his new owner. But then on top of that, there is also going to be a new Cars series that is going to be coming the year after, in which that is actually going to be looking into, just the little adventures of Lightning McQueen and Mater and the rest of the people in Radiator Springs. But then they have also revealed, for the first time ever, their long-form animated series called Win or Lose, which apparently it says here that it's going to follow a middle school softball team in the week leading up to their championship game, and each episode is told from the perspective of a different character, and that's going to be coming out in February of 2023. But the biggest announcements are actually going to be regarding the movies. Because not only did we get our first look into Luca, showing actual pieces of animation that's going to be in the film, but they have also revealed what's going to be coming up in 2022. And the first movie that they have revealed is going to be this big one right over here, Turning Red, which that is going to be coming out in March of 2022, that will be directed by Domi Shi. And you might remember Domi Shi as the award-winning director, the Oscar-winning director of the animated short Bao. Somehow, like, my brain was like, wait, what is it again? Oh, yes, it's that. So, yes, there's going to be a brand new animated movie by Domi Shi called Turning Red, in which it's going to be a coming-of-age story about a 13-year-old girl named May. But the interesting thing about it is that even though it seems like your typical coming-of-age story about a 13-year-old girl going through puberty and stuff like that, the big twist of all this is that when she gets too excited, she turns into a giant red panda. That's pretty much the interesting thing of all this, is that somehow she gets really excited and suddenly, poof, giant red panda. That's the whole plot of it all, and again, that's going to be coming up in 2022, or in March of 2022. But then in the summer, oh man, the summer of 2022 will be quite fascinating, because now I think there's a new movie that people are right now really hyping up, and it will actually be Lightyear. And yes, it's exactly what you think it is when you hear the word Lightyear. It is a Buzz Lightyear movie, but not the same Buzz Lightyear that we all know and love in the Toy Story movies. In fact, this is not even a Buzz Lightyear that is voiced by Tim Allen. This is actually going to be a brand new Buzz Lightyear. In a way, you could say this is a complete reimagining of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, where it will tell the story of how this young pilot, this little space cadet, would eventually grow into the galactic hero that we all know and love, who is actually going to be voiced by none other than Captain America himself, Chris Evans. And that's probably the biggest surprise that people have gotten so far. And I gotta say, as interesting as Turning Red is going to be, I think really the big one that everyone is going to keep their eye on is going to be regarding Lightyear. And already, I feel massively hyped up for that movie because it sounds weird, it sounds crazy, but I feel like in the right hands, it could totally work. It could turn out to be this amazing, epic Guardians of the Galaxy style movie. And just thinking about it, thinking about the possible ideas of what they could do with it, honestly, it gets me more and more excited. Like, I don't know if they're really gonna go into, like, the lore and what they've already established in Buzz Lightyear A Star Command, rather it be the direct-to-video movie or even the TV series. But at least in terms of what is already canon in the movies, like, I want to know, like, what would be the redesign of, like, Zurg? Like, that would actually be amazing to look at. Or one thing I am curious about, what are the green aliens going to look like? I want to know, like, what would be the movie interpretation of what they're going to do with that? So, I don't know. I feel like this could really go either way. This could turn out to be, like, a really stupid idea and just a desperate attempt to try to keep on going with the Toy Story franchise. But then on the other hand, what got me excited with this is that if this works, this could turn out to be massively epic. And it could work out in ways that not many people could possibly ever imagine. And with that said, people, I think that is all the announcements. We went through every single thing that happened on Investor Day, on Disney Investor Day. And already we are in an hour in on this podcast. That is freaking insane. So yeah, that's just all the announcements that we have got so far. And if you ask me for my personal highlights, I would definitely say my highlights, of course, Lightyear would definitely be one. Iwaju, totally. The fact that Raya and the Last Dragon is going to be released both on Disney Plus and in theaters, like going in that Warner Brothers route, that is also a major deal for me. What other major things they have announced? Night at the Museum, I'm not gonna lie, I do enjoy the first movie, so it's gonna be interesting to see the animated film as well. Other than that, yeah. The Star Wars ones, of course. Like, I think, like, the Obi-Wan series is gonna be big for me. And I mean, like, I won't deny Rogue Squadron as well. And, and the Guardians of the Galaxy announcements and Fantastic Four. And, yeah, there's just so much to cover, but that's Disney Investor Day for ya. Holy crap. There's so many things to be excited about in the future, in the near future, in fact, so let's just see how it goes. But let me tell you, folks, I'm glad I got my Disney Plus subscription. Alright, so with that said now, it is time that I'm gonna go and pass this on to you. What do you all think about... Oh, wait, actually, there is one more quick announcement that someone even mentioned. Yes, it is actually true that... oh, no, I know. Okay, that doesn't have to be mentioned. Yes. All right, people, what do you all think about all these announcements about Disney Plus? What are some of the standout announcements that you're most excited about? And which ones are you anticipating? Which ones are you, like, dreading? Let me know what you all think on this. Okay, so let's see. There is way too much here, so I'm just gonna do a major lightning round here. Let's go. The Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie sounds solid, and the test animation reminds me of the Peanuts movie. All the new shows sounds dope. Turning Red sounds cute. Buck Wild sounds awful, but I could be wrong. I'm weirdly excited for Lightyear. Chip and Dale sounds really silly but kind of fun. Enchanto could possibly be a new classic, and I'm currently praying that the Fantastic Four movie does not suck. Boom, I just burnt. There you go, dude. Let's see. I don't know where to start at. I'm sure with everyone, they're excited. They're like excited. Oh, they'll be excited like the foaming mouth guy from Avatar. Speaking of Zootopia, I've been working on a webcomic crossover between Zootopia and Mega Man Zero. I wonder for me and the show is that how they depict the police scene and the main characters as cops. That is a very good. That is actually a very good point, and we'll have to wait and see with how they will address that. But I'm sure there'll probably be an episode where they have to address like stuff like Black Lives Matter. Okay, let's see now. Holy cow, this is a lot to process and a lot of projects to anticipate. Even if they are in the hands of such a multi-billion-dollar monopoly who has everything, I'll be very surprised if they all come into fruition. But then again, they've been incredibly ambitious before, so I'm just assuming that this is the next step in the evolution. I guess no year and no pandemic can combat the force that is the mouse. Oh yeah. I mean, like, they've been hit hard with the theme parks, but they know that they have some new power, some newfound power with Disney+. Let's see. Wow, just wow. This is massive. The highlights for me are easily the animated movies and series for both Disney and Pixar, such as Lightyear, Raya, Turning Red, etc. But the one thing that did let me down with the whole thing is that they didn't mention... They didn't mention too much about the Fox stuff, such as Blue Sky's Nimona, January of 2022, and more notably is the absence of Bob's Burgers movie, considering that one is coming out in only 4 months of release, April of 2021. Yeah, honestly, I don't know if that's even happening, or I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see with what's happening with Bob's Burgers. But then again, there are still a lot of things that they haven't even announced. Like, there aren't even new Muppet projects that they have announced anyways. Or not even, like, a second season of, like, Muppets Now or even Earth to Ned. Let's see. What would we have here? Marvel, only watching it for Owen Wilson. Star Wars, the fans turn me off at any Star Wars movies. They scare me. Disney animated canon shows, awesome. Pixar shows, cool. Car series, my babies are back. Pixar movies, Turning Red and Luca sound more interesting to me. Sorry, Lightyear. Investor Day sound like a great holiday. I can't wait for a lot of these things, especially for a Cars series. Okay. Let's see. Holy macaron! When Disney decided to dedicate themselves for the streaming service, they really dedicate. Even though it's pretty overwhelming with all this info, there's just so much that it's easy to find something you would like. As for what I am most interested, I would pick The Stones, Shogun, Star Wars Visions, Rogue Squadron, the Taika Waititi Star Wars movies, Iwaju, and Lightyear. Okay. I'm gonna go and read one more before we jump into the next story. So, like, I know there's been a lot, but we still got a show to do, so we got to keep moving forward. I really have a list of comments to basically all the Disney announcements, but the best way to describe is like the recent Mickey Mouse cartoon on their ordinary date. They pull up all the surprises at once, and the people go into utter chaos. Some I'm optimistic, others maybe okay-ish. I really can't keep it all this straight with this long list. I know, and this is the first story alone, and we have already surpassed the hour mark. It's just that crazy with Investor Day 2020. I mean, it's almost as if we already got the D23 Expo. Okay, I think we've pretty much been Disneyed out with all these announcements. It's time that we have to move on to something else. But it's time that we gotta go and discuss about the other stories as well, because we still have plenty to say with all those other things. And one thing I would like to go and discuss is to bring back a subject I have talked about last week, and that is actually regarding HBO Max, or Warner Brothers' massive decision of releasing all their 2021 movies, both in theaters and in HBO Max, which is an extremely controversial decision. So much so that while there are some people that are okay with it, others are massively pissed, especially in terms of some people in the film community, especially the case with Christopher Nolan. As you guys probably know, Christopher Nolan is possibly the biggest advocate for movie theaters. Like, this is the kind of guy who thinks that there is only one way to enjoy a movie in the best way imaginable, and that is watching it on the big screen, displaying it where it should be. Much more so than watching it at home, rather it be on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer, or on your television. It's just the movie theaters is the way to go. However, when Christopher Nolan heard about the recent news about HBO Max, about Warner Brothers' decision about releasing it both on HBO Max and in theaters on the same day with all their 2021 movies, especially when they got some highly anticipated features in there like Dune, Matrix 4, Godzilla vs. Kong, and so much more, oh man, Chris got pissed, let me tell you that. In fact, to read you here from my source on The Hollywood Reporter, he stated, "Some of our industry's biggest filmmakers and most important movie stars went to bed the night before thinking they were working for the greatest movie studio and woke up to find out they were working for the worst streaming service." So yeah, this dude is salty as F. He also mentioned, Warner Brothers had an incredible machine for getting a filmmaker's work out everywhere, both in theaters and in the home, and they are dismantling it as we speak. They don't even understand what they're losing. Their decision makes no economic sense, and even the most casual Wall Street investor can see the difference between disruption and dysfunction. And also, I want to add that a few days later, Nolan actually doubled down on his statements, really saying that this is a decision that could really destroy Hollywood, that could really screw over the entertainment industry. Where in his statements, in which he talked to NPR, and I'm going to be reading you here from my source on Variety, in which he would go into length, in which he says, "The economics of it are unsound unless you're purely looking at the movement in its share price, number of eyeballs on the new streaming service. Theatrical is really only one part of what we're talking about here. You're talking about your home video window, your secondary territory windows. These are things very important to the economics of the business and to the people who work in the business. And I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking about Ben Affleck. I'm talking about the grips, the electricians who depend on, IA and IA residuals for pension and healthcare. I'm talking about SAG. I'm talking about actors. I'm talking about when I come on set and I've got to shoot a scene with, a waiter or a lawyer who has 2 or 3 lines. They need to be earning a living in that profession, working maybe sometime a couple of days a year. And that's why the residual structure is in place. That's why the unions have secured participation for people down the line. And even adding to a certain extent, there is a danger with that. That needs to be addressed through appropriate negotiation with unions, with talent, and all the rest. There are enormous number of questions that come out about the economic structures that allow working people in Hollywood to maintain, their lives and raises their families and have health care and all the rest. All I'm saying, these are all things that haven't yet been thought through, and they need to be. So that's pretty much the big argument that Christopher Nolan is trying to say, that when it comes to this decision of what Warner Brothers has done with HBO Max, releasing them both at the same time, that this could have some very serious economic consequences to the movie business, to pretty much the entertainment business in general. That wouldn't just affect the cast and wouldn't just affect the directors, but also the crew as well. And I'm just gonna say that yes, it is true that that he does bring up some very solid points. And what Warner Brothers is doing is that they're going onto some very mysterious territories that we're not necessarily that familiar with. And I mean, some could argue that technically you could look at what Netflix has done and their business model that they have been handling, and it seems like things have been going well for them with that. But then again, you got to keep in mind with HBO Max, they are only starting. They're no Netflix, of course. So from there, like, they very much are worried about what could be the economic consequences of moving their movies onto HBO Max on top of the theaters, because especially in these times, or like even without these times, most people would rather want to watch their movies at home and watch it on, just watch it on their computers, or just watch it on the streaming services, because like I said last week, that is much more of a smarter economic solution for the consumer than it is to go and watch a movie on the big screen. So there is that major aspect to go and really like think about. And on top of that, I would also want to mention that technically it's not just Christopher Nolan that has those sentiments as well. There are plenty of prominent directors that are massively upset about this decision. This would include John M. Chu, who got a massive shock hearing about his version of In the Heights is going to be releasing both in theaters and in HBO Max. And then you got Denis Villeneuve, who is understandably upset about this, considering that he is the man who is directing one of the most anticipated movies of 2021, Dune, and that will end up getting shafted onto HBO Max. And while it will be released in theaters as well, but the fact that at the same time it will be on HBO Max and that most people will watch it on HBO Max is kind of like a punch to the gut. But when it comes to Christopher Nolan, when it comes to his comments, it's like, I kind of get what you are saying, but there are two major problems with his comments. Number one, I don't know if you've mentioned this, because never in his comments I've seen him bring up this factor, but we're in a freaking pandemic, you douche dick. Do you not realize why they would have to go and make that decision? Because Warner Brothers has to do something in order to keep themselves alive. You do realize that theaters are not necessarily ideal for a pandemic. It's not really a great idea to go into the movie theaters, and especially nowadays when a whole bunch of movie theaters are pretty much closed down in the first place because of new government regulations. Like, I know where I am now in the province of Quebec, like, I can't go to the movies. Like, I've already got people asking me, like, where's my review of Cruise: A New Age? Well, I can't freaking go and watch it because my theater is closed. In fact, all the theaters in my provinces are closed, so you gotta kind of wait until I can actually watch it at home. And then on top of that, like, you also got, like, other places. Like, I heard Los Angeles got a new lockdown. Like, they're closing off because the number of cases that they've been getting is just freaking astronomical at this point. And this goes to plenty of other venues as well. This is not the best time to go into the movie theaters. And just like I mentioned last week, the majority of people are not yet comfortable to go back to go and watch a movie. And almost half the people right now are not even comfortable in planning to go to the movie theaters anytime soon, and this even includes the summer. I know technically, yes, some people could argue that very soon we are going to be getting the vaccine, but then again, most people are not going to be getting it until maybe sometime in the fall. You do realize that there are a lot of people that do have to take priority, including and especially the elderly. So that is also something that you really have to go and keep that in mind. And I feel like in all of his arguments, he's pretending, it feels like Christopher Nolan is pretending that apparently this pandemic doesn't exist and that they still have to go and release the companies like Warner Brothers has to go and release all their movies onto the big screen. Like, that's the only way that filmmakers and the cast and crew would go and make their money. I mean, like I mentioned before, Netflix is so far doing a pretty good job, and it seems like Warner Brothers is going to try to adopt a format, a new system that is going to be similar to Netflix, where where people will still have jobs, they will still have a pay, but how they are going to get that pay is going to be a little bit more different than usual. And also, number two, the second thing I want to bring up, and this is really the biggest problem of the fact that it's Christopher Nolan saying this. You do know that part of this decision is because of you, right? I'm already seeing people in the chat wall mentioning this, but you know that this is because of Tenet. Because, I don't think there has been any confirmation that this is the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's really because Christopher Nolan is so desperate to put Tenet in theaters that Warner Brothers had no choice but to comply and just release Tenet in theaters worldwide as if the pandemic never happened. And look at the consequences of what happened. I'm moving on to Box Office Mojo, and as you could tell, with the number that they have made at the box office, so far in terms of worldwide numbers, it's pretty fine so far. It actually does look pretty good. Nearly $360 million, or specifically $359.9 million worldwide. That's actually not bad, especially for a movie released in the pandemic. But then there's also something you really have to consider, and that's also a major flaw. The grand majority of that is from the international box office. More than 300 million of it actually came from international waters. Domestically, it only made 57.6 million. 57.6, and that's it. Oh, and there's one thing I forgot to mention. And to make this, there's one important factor that makes this objectively terrible. And I know it sounds pretentious of me to say the word objectively in this case, but I know this is bad, and I know this is factually terrible for this movie, considering that Tenet has a budget of $200 million. This is no cheap movie to make. It has a stupidly large budget, and it doesn't matter how much it made domestically, or even with worldwide with that 360 number. The thing is, this is a bomb. Warner Brothers lost a very significant amount of money. And it's because of what happened with Tenet pretty much made Warner Brothers realize that that movie theaters in the pandemic is not necessarily the best economic solution. And even other studios are now starting to take notice of it, and that's why we're seeing more and more movie studios moving their theaters onto either their streaming services or just releasing it on video on demand. And that's exactly the case of what we just saw with Disney moving Raya and the Last Dragon onto Disney Plus. And in the case right here, with what you see in Tenet, I honestly don't really blame them. I mean, technically with Warner Brothers, they didn't fully give up in movie theaters, but I don't blame them for releasing them onto HBO Max to find other solutions, to find some form of profitability onto their streaming service. So at least make that a lot more prominent than what they can with the movie theaters, because you never know in 2021. Yeah, people are going to be getting vaccines, but that doesn't immediately mean that people are going to get back to normal, and it especially means that technically the protocols are not going to be immediately lifted. It's not like people are suddenly going to stop wearing masks, and especially, it's not like movie theaters are going to stop limited capacity, and that's going to be a major obstacle for movie theaters, and that's also a major factor onto why Warner Brothers had no choice but to go and make this decision, along with many other studios, is that even without this pandemic, or even without what's going on, the limited the thing is that this limited capacity is also another major reason why movies can't be as economically strong as they used to be in the box office. So overall, when it comes to my thoughts on this, with what Christopher Nolan is kind of saying, it's I don't blame him for saying this, and I understand why he's saying that, and he does bring up a few good points. But the dude is completely ignorant to the fact that we are in a pandemic. Or it sounds like he's completely ignorant about the pandemic, acting like it somehow doesn't exist, and he only believes that, that studios like Warner Brothers are just ignoring movie theaters just because. And I mean, yeah, it could possibly take an economic toll on movie theaters and maybe to some of the cast and crew, but Warner Brothers is trying to find a way to go and work around that. They are trying to find ways in order to go and adapt. I get that Christopher Nolan is much more of a traditionalist, but you got to realize that the traditional ways are dead. We are in a new age of distribution on how we are going to get our entertainment. And streaming services are proving to be much, much more viable than movie theaters, down to the point where now movie theaters are becoming a lot weaker as time would move on, and especially nowadays when the pandemic is stronger than ever. Like, one thing you got to keep in mind with the Tenet box office number is that this was back when the pandemic was not as bad as it is right now. It was only a fraction to the numbers that what we have today. So imagine releasing a movie nowadays in theaters would lead to more catastrophic results than the numbers of what Tenet would have. So honestly, I just feel like there are some solid points Christopher Nolan is making, but it feels like he's being completely ignorant and he's not getting all the facts together. He needs to include the mentality of what's going on with the pandemic on this scenario, because if you're only going to be looking at the economic asset of it, like if you're only looking into the economics of it, then you're not getting the big picture. So that's honestly my big commentary on this. It's just that, like, Christopher Nolan is not necessarily the most ideal person to talk about the subject, considering that he's only thinking about the economics of the situation. Like, he pretty much is like one of those people, in terms of the, he's one of those people, that in terms of the pandemic, he would only think about the economy. It's like, you know, whatever argument you would make, he's that douchebag that would be like, well, what about the economy? What about the economy? Don't we have to protect the economy? You know, like making those kinds of comments. And while they do bring up a few they bring up a few good pointers, but they're a lot dumber than they sound. That's really the case here. Okay, so with that said, I'd like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to know, what are your thoughts about Christopher Nolan's comments regarding Warner Brothers' decision to move the 2021 movies in both theaters and HBO Max? Do you agree with him? Do you disagree with him? Do you think he brings up some solid points? Do you think he's forgetting a few things? Let me know what you all think. Let's see. I found this to be very pissy for Nolan. If he just wants a movie in theaters, you're rich, build your own. Every time I hear of moviegoers on the theater experience, I think of Principal Skinner in The Simpsons going all, am I out of touch? No. It is HBO Max who is at fault. No, it is HBO Max who are wrong. It's exactly that, because, like, I don't think Christopher Nolan has that grasp that what happened, like, honestly, that really does add into a stupid factor onto Christopher Nolan, because it really is his movie that is partly responsible to, like, the decision that Warner Brothers has made. Is like you'd think that he saw the result of his movie, how it did at the box office, and he would think, like, yeah, maybe it's not economically smart to go and release movies during a pandemic. But I don't know, like that would be something that I would like to know about his opinion excuse me. I'm like, maybe he did respond to this before, but I am curious to know, what does he think about, or why does he think that Tenet bombed at the box office? I would like to know his opinion, and I wouldn't be surprised if never once he would ever mention about if he would ever mention about the pandemic. All right, let's see now. I think Nolan is sometimes pretentious, and it was dangerous to release Tenet recently, but I can't help but agree with him. This makes no sense and just screams no planning and just desperation instead of just renaming, lowering the price, and releasing strong original content. I think they're going to reverse course with most movies. We have vaccines coming and Biden is coming, and if we judge how Demon Slayer is doing in Japan, that people do want to come back, then it is safe that people would go. Oh, that's one thing I'm not going to deny. People are excited to go back to the movie theaters, just not during a pandemic. And yeah, Japan, and like there's a lot of people going to the movie theaters in Japan watching movies like Demon Slayer, but that's Japan. They're actually handling the pandemic pretty well. In the United States, on the other hand, no, they are not handling, they have not handled the pandemic well, especially when it comes to Donald Trump and the Republican politicians. They've handled it the worst way imaginable. Like the majority of the reason why the pandemic has been so bad in the United States is mainly due to conservatism, and it's going to take a while for that to recover, and it's going to take a while for people to even reconsider, or the public to even reconsider going back into the theaters. So it's not that people don't want to go back to movie theaters. It's like a lot of people really do, including myself. It's just we do not want to do it during a pandemic. That's the big difference. Let's see now. What else do we have here? I'm not surprised that Christopher Nolan, along with others such as Denis Villeneuve and longtime production company for Warner Brothers Legendary Pictures. I get why they're pissed about the news along with not informing them, but they forgot that we are in a pandemic and people might not be comfortable in going to theaters. Warner Brothers didn't have a choice, so why complain? Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot understand about the situation more so than Nolan, and he should learn from this. But then again, considering that it is people like Christopher Nolan, and especially at this point of the pandemic, people have already made their opinion. People have already made their decision of how they feel about the situation and what they care about the most. So I don't think I don't know if Nolan is going to be learning anything from this. Let's see now. I remember in 2016 when Spielberg was predicting that the movie business was headed into a crisis, but I don't think he could ever have predicted this. I admit I did go see Tenet just last month while wearing a mask and following public safety precautions, but I'm not going to advocate that theaters fully reopen until we can get this virus totally under control. Sacrifices sometimes have to be made to ensure our survival. With the economy can recover, but lives claimed by COVID cannot. A dark message, but it could not be more true. Let's see, what else do we got here? While I do get people like Nolan's perspective, I think the major takeaway from all this is that the pandemic is 100% unpredictable. You may think it'll have gone away by August, and then boom, massive surge in cases. You think it'll go away by 2021 because of vaccines, and then boom, lockdowns galore. Same goes for Tenet, by the way. You think it'll be the one to save theaters, and then boom, Warner Brothers put their 2021 lineup because of a movie with barely audible dialogue. See my point? Yeah, exactly. That's also another major case that you have to remember, is that with this pandemic, everything is so unpredictable. Like, we would never have expected that we would be in this second wave and that it would be stronger than ever, and that we would even be in these massive lockdowns. There's also that major case. I'll go and read one more comment before we jump into the next story. Did I read this one? Okay, yeah. While I can see where Nolan is coming from, I just think he needs to realize that a pandemic is going on. At this point, people really have no choice but to watch new movies on streaming services. It also doesn't help that Warner Brothers is also in hot water with Legendary Pictures because of putting movies like Godzilla vs. Kong and Dune on HBO Max. I mean, there are a lot of justifiable reasons as to why some of these companies and people are massively upset, especially the fact that they have not been informed by this decision. It's just, honestly, there's also that reality that you got to realize we're in a pandemic, and during a pandemic, people don't want to watch a movie on the big screen. Okay, so now that we got this out of the way, let us now go and jump onto our next story, which is also another big headliner story. Let's go and talk about Sony, because I know I've said a lot of different things about Sony Pictures in the past. But one thing I gotta say, though, is that with our story right here, this is the first time that Sony legitimately scares me. Like, this is something that you have no idea how freaky this news is. And what I'm talking about is Sony's newest big purchase, Crunchyroll. Yes, it has been reported that AT&T has sold Crunchyroll to Sony for an estimate $1.175 billion in cash. Nearly $1.2 billion. And to give you guys a little bit of a perspective, if you want to know a bit more about Crunchyroll, if you don't know what it is already, It states here, let's see now. Crunchyroll toots more than 3 million subscription video-on-demand subscribers and some 90 million registered users across more than 200 countries and territories. It offers ad-supported VOD, mobile games, manga, events, merchandise, and distribution, all entirely based on anime. So basically, this is an anime streaming or an anime-oriented streaming service. Crunchyroll says it has more than 1,000 titles and over 30,000 episodes, which it claims represents the world's largest anime library. Now, the big significant thing with Sony purchasing Crunchyroll is the fact that Sony already owns Crunchyroll's biggest competitor in the international anime distribution business, which is Funimation. And to read again in my source on Variety, they state about Funimation is that Funimation's US streaming subscription plan start at $5.99 per month. Funimation distributes over 700 anime series, representing more than 13,000 hours of content available in 49 countries. So, they already got that, and it's already big as it is. But now, Sony just bought something that is even bigger than Crunchyroll. And we also got a few quotes here. The first one coming from Tony Vinciquerra, the CEO of Sony Pictures Entertainment, and he states, "We are proud to bring Crunchyroll into the Sony family. Together with Crunchyroll, we will create the best possible experience for fans and greater opportunity for creators, producers, and publishers in Japan and everywhere." We also got another quote, I believe. Do we have another quote here? Just wanted to... Yes, we also got another quote coming from the Chief Revenue Officer, Tony Goncalves of WarnerMedia, stating, "Crunchyroll's success is a direct result of the company's culture and commitment to their fans. By combining with Funimation, they will continue to nurture a global community and bring more anime to more people." So that is essentially the big thing that's currently going on. It's Sony buying Crunchyroll when they already own Funimation. And the reason why I state that Sony honestly really scared me by doing this massive move is mainly because of the fact that, I don't know if people can grasp this, but Sony has a monopoly. This is legit what a monopoly looks like. Now, they don't own all of it, but Sony right now has the grand majority of international anime distribution. Or at the very least, like anime distribution outside of Japan. There are other companies as well, but none of them are bigger than Sony as we speak. Now, I know that technically some people could argue that there are other companies that are as big as Sony, or debatably even bigger than Sony, that are also distributing anime. Hulu, for example, or even Netflix especially. But there is a major difference, however, because when it comes to Netflix and when it comes to Hulu, they're not specifically catered to anime. Yes, they distribute anime, but that's not the main thing they do. Like, they could survive without distributing any anime whatsoever. With Crunchyroll and Funimation, on the other hand, those two are built just for that. They are made to distribute anime. And already with Crunchyroll and Funimation, they already own a good chunk of many of the other companies that distribute anime from all around the world. So it's honestly really frightening to see that they also, by doing the math right now, with the combination of Crunchyroll and Funimation, right now, Sony owns more than 1,700 animes. Right now, 1,700 animes, hundreds of thousands of hours of content already, and with both their streaming services, they've already have gotten millions upon millions of subscribers. That is legit what a monopoly looks like, and it dwarfs any other competition that there is out there. I know a lot of people complain about how Disney is a monopoly, especially after purchasing 20th Century. But with Disney, at least, there are other competitors. They're not really that much of a monopoly. Yes, they have the biggest piece of the pie in the entertainment industry, but they're not the biggest one compared to others. Because, like, yeah, they do have some legitimate competition with Universal, with Warner Brothers, with Paramount, with Sony, with Lionsgate. Like, if you combine all of Disney's competitors, they are massively bigger than Disney. But Disney is still the biggest, but not a monopoly. Sony is right now. Sony is a massive monopoly, and they're the ones that are going to be distributing all the biggest anime possible. Like right now, if you're going to go and consume an anime, then there's a high chance that you're consuming it from Sony Pictures. But the biggest question is of all this, though, is what does this mean for the consumer? What does this mean for you? And at that point, I don't know if there is any confirmation about any future plans. And honestly, that's also another really dangerous aspect, is regarding what's going to be Sony's plan with it. What's Sony's plan with Crunchyroll and Funimation? Because honestly, I don't know. And the reason why I say that it is kind of a very dangerous thing is mainly because one of the biggest flaws with the anime community is that unfortunately misinformation spreads way too quickly, and people are so inclined into believing whatever they would read on the internet. This does not necessarily reflect upon everyone in the anime community, of course, but there is that major issue that is within the anime community, especially when it comes to conservative grifters that heavily profit off of spreading misinformation about the anime industry, such as Hero Hey, where they pretty much care more about spreading a white nationalist propaganda more so than spreading factual information about what is going on within the industry. These channels are pretty much as if Alex Jones was a weeaboo. And that's a major problem. And already people are spreading massive speculations, already spreading massive conspiracy theories that are not true. And the only thing that we can do right now is just wait and see with what happens. Because as this article states here, there is actually it's actually over here now. It even states that what is unclear for now is how Sony will combine Crunchyroll and Funimation, and whether the prices for either of their services will go up or potentially be merged into a unifying offering. So we don't know what Sony's plan is going to be with either Crunchyroll or with Funimation. Will they be combining them together? Will they be separating them as two different entities? I feel like both options are highly viable, because technically, yes, now that they own the two, they could definitely just make one giant anime distribution company. They could do that. Or another thing they can do is just keep those two separate, considering that both the Funimation and Crunchyroll brand are highly prominent on their own, and they have really made a big name for themselves, and they don't want to try to break down that system. And some may say that it could be economically smarter to separate the two as well, considering that you can have two moderate prices on both Funimation and Crunchyroll instead of combining the two together to make one giant price that's less than both of those two separately. There are plenty of options that Sony could go with, but I will say right now, it's just scary to see what Sony is doing right now, really forming a massive monopoly in terms of international anime distribution. Because like I said, this is what a monopoly looks like. Sony now has the massive grand majority of all this. And I mean, yeah, there will be a few smaller companies as well that will do their best to go and distribute animes in different ways, like G-Kids or Sentai Workshop or some Sentai Fireworks or stuff. Sentai, those companies. But still, now none can be as big as Sony, especially with their combination of Crunchyroll and Funimation. And what that means for what that means for those two companies now, what that means for Sony, what that means for the future of distribution for anime, who knows? But I can guarantee you is that starting next year, the way people will be distributing anime will be a lot more, or like the way that you're going to consume your anime is going to be a lot more different than how it was last year or even this year. I'm just warning you all. Okay, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you all, how do you feel about Sony acquiring Crunchyroll when they already own Funimation? Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think this is a bad thing? Do you think it's bad that Sony kind of has a monopoly in this industry? Do you feel like this is probably for the best for Sony to really have this giant collection? Let me know what you all think. Let's see. Well, this is certainly a chilling development. I fear that there will be a surge of censorship that would give 4Kids a run for their money. Odds are they will most likely heavily edit out or outright ban mature scenes and or series to appease Chinese censorship. To appease Chinese censorship. Either way, monopolies aren't fun are not fun as a customer. Yeah, and that's also another major thing that's probably one of the biggest paranoias that some people in the anime community have. It's that, that's probably their biggest concern with all this. What does that mean for censorship? Because technically it is true that Funimation can have a little bit of a history with censoring anime. That is true, whether it be for subs or with dubs and stuff like that. But then again, it's not that big of a deal, and more often than not, the case with censorship, it's not as bad as people often portray it to be. So it's not really that big of a deal. So again, I can't really predict what's gonna happen with this, but honestly, we'll just wait and see, really. All right, so let's see what else we got here. This is going crazy. This is going crazy. This is worse than Fox News trying to buy the Wall Street Journal, NBC, CBS, and more. Sony is monopolizing a category and keeping other people from enjoying it. That's not right. Also, Funimation announced on Twitter that they're working on a port of their Funimation streaming app coming to the Nintendo Switch and second quarter of 2021, and Crunchyroll can also be streamed through the HBO Max app. Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe that's going to stay on the HBO Max app, but now that it's no longer AT&T that owns it, I don't know how long that's going to last. I'm just going to give you all a little bit of a warning. Maybe they'll stay. I mean, technically, Sony is open to collaborating with other streaming services, so maybe Crunchyroll will stay with HBO Max, but I don't know how long that they're gonna keep it there. I'm just warning you all. Let's see now. This is actually my first time hearing about this. Thanks for catching me up on this whole thing. Anyways, I'm a bit indifferent about this because I don't pay attention to those companies. Fair enough. This could certainly be a big change for the distribution, but so far we don't know that much. Funimation is already on ice since they are somewhat infamous for adding political. And I think the comment just stopped there. Honestly, it's not me that stopped. It's just the comment. It's just and it's done. Anyways, this is going crazy. This is... Oh, no, I already read you. Sorry. Let's see. What else do we have? Well, this is something that I didn't expect. While I can't understand why Sony bought Crunchyroll since they need more big properties outside of Spider-Man, but this could really hurt Sony's reputation in terms of handling animes. Also, I really don't like how people are attacking Disney for being a monopoly, but giving Sony a pass. Well, honestly, it's unfortunately the mentality of going after the mainstream, people people are more focused on attacking what's more popular and what's far more beloved. For example, a lot of people, a lot more people are more lenient on going after something like Frozen or Despicable Me, more so than something like the Emoji Movie or even Norm of the North. Because even though those are notoriously terrible movies, they're not really that popular per se, and they rather lean on the popularity aspect to be more edgy. They want to go, they want to be different than what is considered the social norms and what is considered popular and what is considered mainstream. For them, they consider it to be the enemy. Some people can legitimately have that kind of mentality. Let's see, what else do we have here? You know what, I'll read... Oh, wait. Okay. Okay, okay, I'll go and, oh, okay, the person even, finished, the comment. Okay, now we got a full version of that comment from before. This could certainly be a big change for the distribution, but so far we don't know that much. Funimation is already on the ice since they are somewhat infamous with adding politics into their dubs. That honestly depends on what politics per se, because that could be that could be like a major thing. There's a big difference between adding political subject matter like talking about Black Lives Matter or there's also aspects like talking about nationalism and white supremacy. You know, they're like that really is like a whole subject altogether on like why are they in trouble for adding politics onto the dubs. We could see some more censorship. We might even see more animes being released in other countries since some of Crunchyroll's anime aren't available in certain countries. I just have to see in the future. Exactly. That's kind of the big thing about all this is that we don't know what the future holds. We don't know what Sony's big plan is going to be with Crunchyroll. We don't know how they're going to be handling the animes. But for now, all we do know is that this is big and we know some significant changes are going to be happening. Okay, now with our next story that we have over here, we're going to go back to the classic animation news that we usually cover here in AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And when it comes to our next story, it looks like another major book is going to be turned into an animated feature. And considering that the author had great experience with this studio, I think he could definitely trust them to do another beloved work with another of his beloved books. And what I'm talking about is going to be regarding Dogman. Yes, DreamWorks Animation has announced that they are going to be adapting Dave Pilkey's book Dogman into a feature film. And on top of that, they have already gotten a new director for this, which is going to be Peter Hastings. And before I go and continue and talk about the movie, I just want to give you a little bit of some information regarding Dogman, for those of you who are not necessarily familiar with what the book is about. So let me just read you from my source here, again coming from The Hollywood Reporter, as it states, Pilkey began the series after winding down his previous hit creation, Captain Underpants. Dogman became an even bigger hit, thanks to the writer-artist's humor and heart, with the book exploring universally positive themes, including empathy, kindness, persistence, becoming a better version of oneself, and the importance of doing good. Also, the unique style of graphic novels is intended to encourage the love of reading and creativity in kids. It is important to underscore the massive nature of the series. Forget about all 9 books becoming #1 bestsellers. The recent titles have had first printings of 3 million and 5 million copies. Unheard of numbers in the graphic novel industry and squashing anything close to the majority of offerings from the bigger names in comics, DC and Marvel. So move over Superman, move over Batman, move over Captain America. We got frickin' Dogman ruling the frickin' book industry. Anyways, Pilkey is operating in the realm of authors such as Stephen King, and in 2019, he was named Publishers Weekly Person of the Year, the first time a cartoonist had received the recognition. His book tour even sometimes take place in packed areas. And going back into the subject of Dogman, now, again, there is no confirmation regarding the cast, when they're going to be coming out, or what the story is going to be. However, what we do know is going to be the director, as I said, is going to be Peter Hastings. And Peter Hastings has been mostly a television animation veteran, where he has been a part of the writing team of Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain, on top of being a 6-time Emmy Award winner and a Peabody winner. But also, he has been working at DreamWorks Animation for a while, working on shows such as Kung Fu Panda: Legends of Awesomeness, and especially the reason why he even has this job in the first place is because he has been working on the Epic Tales of Captain Underpants, the Netflix series based on the 2017 DreamWorks movie of Captain Underpants. And on top of that, we even got a couple of quotes here that I would like to read. The first one coming from Kristen Lowe, the Chief Creative Officer at DreamWorks Animation, as it states, as his readers all over the world know, Dave Pilkey is truly one of the most creative and talented storytellers of his generation. And Peter Hastings is just the right person to bring this iconic character to the big screen and the legions of fans who are already eagerly awaiting the adaptation. We also got a quote coming from Hastings himself, in which it states, "This is my second project based on Dave Pilkey's books, and I'm very excited to take his funny, clever, emotional, and ultimately inspirational Dogman to make it move. Not just by telling the story, but by absorbing and building on his great sensibility, building it to the screen with deep respect to his gazillion fans, 'cause I'm one of them." Now, one thing I gotta say, that when it comes to Dogman, this is honestly a project I'm not really that familiar with. But if you guys probably know, or if you have watched my reviews, then you probably know that I was a massive fan of Captain Underpants. As a kid, I used to read the books. However, I kind of stopped along the way. I pretty much stopped after the 7th book. I think that was at the point where Dave Pilkey decided to take a break from Captain Underpants, and I kind of grew up and moved on from the Captain Underpants book. But then came the Captain Underpants movie in 2017, which honestly, I gotta say that while it may not necessarily be the best DreamWorks movie, it is definitely the best new IP movie that DreamWorks has released in years. Like, in terms of like non-sequels, like in terms of like the first movie that they have made, Captain Underpants really, like, it's the best one DreamWorks has done since Rise of the Guardians. It is a lot of fun. It stays true to the spirit and the humor of the books. Even the animation style stays true to the art style that was done in the books as well. And it's just so much fun. It could get a little too chaotic. It could get a little too over the top and cartoony at times. But still, it is highly enjoyable, and it really is like bringing the pages of Captain Underpants to life in beautiful animation. So they have definitely done a great job with that. And with that said, even though I'm not necessarily that familiar with Dogman, I am optimistically curious to see what DreamWorks has in store with this, and especially the fact that with Dogman, it is like one of the biggest books, or one of the biggest kids books of all time, like even surpassing the popularity of Captain Underpants. So, like, I am curious to know, like, what they would have in store. And especially, two major things that really has me optimistically curious about this. Number one is if it can be in the same style as Captain Underpants. Like I said before, I'm not really that familiar with Dogman, but if a lot of the humor, if a lot of the heart, if a lot of the sensibilities of what Captain Underpants is has been brought onto Dogman, then honestly, I feel like the movie version of it all, it's gonna be fun. If they could bring what they have built both in the books and in the movie with Captain Underpants, and they could do the same thing with Dogman, we're gonna be in for something that's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be highly enjoyable. Like, honestly, that's gonna be something I feel like it's just gonna be great in general, but that kids and maybe even adults can enjoy. So honestly, if it's gonna be like a spiritual, like, what I am hoping for, honestly, with this Dogman movie would be if it can be like a spiritual successor to Captain Underpants. That's mainly what I am asking, and that's mainly what I am hoping for with what they can do with Dogman. But then, at the same time, the reason number two that I am excited about to see what DreamWorks can do with Dogman is regarding the director, Peter Hastings, because not only is this someone who already has a lot of experience with working on Dave Pilkey projects such as the Captain Underpants Netflix series, it is also because this is one of the writing, or as this mentioned, the writing influential for series such as Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain. then honestly, not only are we going to get something that could be funny and enjoyable, but also something that could be very clever. And I mean, we're like, as you're listening or watching this, you're probably all familiar with Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain and that style of humor and that style of commentary. And if they're able to bring that and put it onto put it onto Dogman, then honestly, I think this is going to be great. It's not just going to be heartfelt, it's not just going to be funny, but it's also going to be very clever as well. Whew, excuse me. Like, I think there really is so much strong potential that they could really bring onto this. Now, this is not going to be happening until, like, a long time. Maybe this won't be happening until, like, maybe 2023 or maybe 2024. Who knows? I would be shocked if they say that this is going to be a 2022 movie. But still, I like, even though I'm not that familiar with Dogman, I feel a bit optimistic about this. I think this could actually turn out to be something that would be a lot of fun. Where if it really, like, if we can have a little bit of that Animaniac style sensibility and that Animaniac style cleverness and the fun aspect, like the humor, the art style, and especially the action, like a lot of what made Captain Underpants stupidly enjoyable, then I think Dogman could honestly be very much legit. Like, it may not seem like much, and it may not look as sophisticated, you could say, as much as some of the other DreamWorks movies that we have gotten in recent years, but still, like, I think this could be something to look out for. I think this could be something that could have a lot of potential and could turn out to be something great. Especially, like, you're bringing another Dave Pilkey project onto animation, and DreamWorks has already done a great job the first time around with the Captain Underpants movie and really expanding that into a franchise with the Captain Underpants Netflix series. So if they can bring those sensibilities onto Dogman, then I think we're going to be down for something that's going to be great. We're going to, like unfortunately, it's kind of rare nowadays, but we can have another fun-filled and really enjoyable DreamWorks film once again. Hopefully we can have that. Okay, so with that said, now I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you all, how do you feel about this Dogman movie? Are you guys excited for this? Are you guys a little bit more cautious about it? And especially, if you are a fan of Dogman, if you have read the books, I want to know your opinion. How do you feel about this about this project? Let me know what you think on this. Let's see now. I'm curious, is there any toilet humor should I be aware of? I saw the film and my father has Professor Poopy Pants stuck in his head. I braced myself for the road ahead, and I suffer the consequences. But all in all, there's no major toilet humor involved, is there? That, unfortunately, I don't think I can answer. But I mean, honestly, I get, like, toilet humor is considered like one of the bottom of the barrel types of like jokes and humor and stuff like that, but still, Captain Underpants is one of those rare movies that knows how to take something as stupid as toilet humor and just freaking make it fun. Like, honestly, it's one of the very rare moments where they took that Uranus joke and really make it an important core element of, like, the plot in the movie, and it just makes it great, and it makes it feel like it's funny all over again. Alright, let's see now. Finally, a DreamWorks animated film that I definitely want to see. Like you, man, I used to read Captain Underpants as a kid, but as time moves on, I did eventually grew out of it until the movie came out in 2017, and I thought it was great and clever at the same time. I never read Dogman before, but as long as it associated with Captain Underpants, I definitely would be down to see it. I can't wait to see what it has in store when it comes out. Oh my god, I just realized an idea. How epic would it be that they would suddenly start a Dave Pilkey cinematic universe? Like, think about this. They'll start off with Captain Underpants, and then they'll do Dogman, and then afterwards they could probably do a Super Diaper Baby movie. And then afterwards it'll be like a whole, like a Dave Pilkey style Avengers movie with Captain Underpants, Dogman, and Super Diaper Baby. Like, they could actually go and do that. That could be a possibility. That is an idea, DreamWorks. Think about it. Okay, let's see now. DreamWorks is doing a Dave Pilkey cinematic universe? No, that's just an idea I just came up. Count me in. I never really had any of the Dogman books despite my wide knowledge of Captain Underpants, but judging by the Captain Underpants movie, this will probably be a good one. I may check it out, but I won't be too hopeful since Peter Hastings' other directorial credit is the Country Bears movie. Oh, this is the guy who did the Country Bears movie? Oh, wow. Okay, I will admit, I didn't really do that much research, but oh my god. the man that has brought us, oh no, Country Bear Hall is ruined. That man coming back to direct a movie. Oh god. Welcome back, Mr. Hastings. Oh, how about with Dogman? Can they recreate that scene, like when that whole building collapsed and it took a while for like Big Al to just react? He's just like, that's just like, it's beautiful. Like sometimes some cinematic messes, they're just beautiful, you know? It's just built that way. Okay. And I already see in the chat wall people going like, this is not over! Bears! Oh god. We need the villain to just like get dragged out going, this is not over! Dog! Oh man. Oh, that's a beautiful fact that it kind of makes me a little bit more excited to see this Dogman movie, honestly. Okay, let's see now. I'm very curious to see how this turns out. I definitely agree with you that Captain Underpants is the best original movie from DreamWorks in recent years. While I'm not too familiar with Dogman, I do think it could be in the same ranks as Captain Underpants. It could really deliver. Although I hope Dogman won't get overshadowed at the box office like Captain Underpants did against Wonder Woman. Yeah, it is kind of unfortunate that it didn't really make a lot of money, but then again, on the bright side, it is still considered a success. I believe it states here that Captain Underpants only made, $125 million at the box office? Yeah, it only made $125 million globally, and that's mainly because it got completely overshadowed by, it got overshadowed by Wonder Woman when that was out in theaters. But then again, Captain Underpants had a budget of only $38 million. So DreamWorks still turned a profit. It may not seem like it, but it was actually one of DreamWorks' few successful movies during that time. Let's see. I'll read one more comment before we jump into the next story here. It's a silly concept. A police officer and his dog went into a building that exploded they came out okay. Hold on a sec. It's a silly concept. A police officer and his dog went into a building that exploded. They came out okay, but his head was dying. The dog's body was dying. So they stitched the dog's head and on the officer's body, and now his animal hybrid crime fighting. Oh, and now he's like this hybrid animal style crime fighter, as in a style of Batman, where everything is done comically, and has a kitten sidekick. And the real creators are actually George and Harold after they completed their Captain Underpants adventures in the 12 Noel by Treehouse Comics. Okay, that's one thing I was always curious, because like, you look at the art style of Dogman, and it's very much childlike. And there's one thing that I've always been curious about Dogman is regarding if, like, is this one of those, like, comic ideas that George and Harold has in the similar form of, like, the Captain Underpants or Super Diaper Baby? Like, that was one thing I was always curious about, because, like, it does seem like it was drawn by, like, a 7-year-old. Like, in terms of the art style. But, okay, that actually does make sense. Now, like, it really does make sense. And funny enough, like, it actually does have a legit connection to the Captain Underpants universe, where, like, this is kind of like a comic that was done by Captain Underpants. Okay, now that actually does make sense. And actually, maybe the Dave Pilkey cinematic universe could actually be legitimately believable. So, let's just look out for that. Alright, Alright guys, I know we are 2 hours in. I know that's crazy, but it is now time that we are gonna jump onto the grand finale. And for this grand finale, what I have here is something that I have been sitting on for a while. I've heard about it, I knew about its existence, but I never really got much into it. And yet, it seemed to be the kind of story that would be a perfect thing to go and talk about in AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And you know what? Honestly, I think it is now time that I should really get down into it, especially when there is a significant update that has happened regarding this story in particular. So, with that said, let us get into our final story right now and actually get into the new memeing sensation of Remy the Ratatouille, the rat of all my dreams. Oh, wait, crap. Oh, I forgot the lyrics. Wait. Oh, wait, no. I got it. Okay, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, okay, I got it. Let me redo that now. Remy the Ratatouille, the rat of all my dreams. I praise you, my Ratatouille. May the world remember your name. Yes, folks, the Ratatouille musical. Now, in case you guys may have heard, no, there is no actual Broadway version of Ratatouille that's coming anytime soon. Believe it or not, this is actually the biggest trend that's currently happening right now on TikTok, where thousands of musical fans all get together and try to put in their contribution in order to build a fantasy Broadway adaptation or a fantasy stage musical adaptation of the 2007 Pixar film Ratatouille. Now, funny enough, this actually all started as just like this fun little fan idea that somebody had, just like a simple little TikTok video. It was actually thought up by a 26-year-old New Yorker by the name of Emily Jacobson, a school teacher that is also a major theater fan and a major Disney fan. And she decided one day, why not just combine her two loves together and just make a fun little TikTok just based on a song she made up a little bit about Remy. And that's where the first ever video of this Ratatouille musical came from, where where Emily decided to do a TikTok, and it's very high, where she decided to put herself high pitched, and she would sing what is now known today as Ode to Remy, the love ballad to the main character in Ratatouille, where she would just sing, Remy the Ratatouille, the rat of all my dreams. I praise you, my Ratatouille, may the world remember your name. And from there, a lot of other people would then go on and jump onto the opportunity to go and try to really turn that into a Broadway musical. Like, one major example, and probably one other user who really got this into traction, was actually another New Yorker by the name of Daniel Mertzloff, who is actually a composer, an orchestrator, and an arranger, who decided to take Emily's video and really expand upon the idea, and probably the first one to suggest the idea of turning it into a Broadway, and like taking that song and turn it into this grand finale of a Broadway show, presenting that, like, this is the part where we will have our finale, where you see Remy flying in the sky, where confetti shoots out, and all that kind of stuff. Where Daniel actually took inspiration from the style of music that would be common in Alan Menken musicals like The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast. And following from there, you would see not only thousands of musical fans, but even Broadway professionals, like professionals who do work in highly elaborate stage musicals, adding their piece onto what would be a great idea for a Ratatouille musical, and thus began the Ratatouille Musical Challenge, where everybody would go and put their piece, rather it be creating new songs, how they would adapt these characters onto the stage, how they would go and create the sets, what kind of choreography they would do. They would all come together to make that one massive piece, to combine it all together in what I pretty much said before, in this this fantasy stage musical of Ratatouille, in which, funny enough, going back to what Emily has where Emily got the idea, where apparently where she actually got the idea inspired by Ratatouille, by the Ratatouille ride that's going to be coming at Epcot next year. That's where she got, like, I'm gonna go and do that. So it pretty much turned into this massive phenomenon right now that's happening in not in Broadway, but that's happening in TikTok. It even states here, starting last month, reading from my source on the New York Times, by the way, starting last month, thousands of TikTok users, including many with Broadway credits, have paid homage to the 2007 Disney Pixar film about a rat who dreams of becoming a French chef by creating their own songs, dances, makeup, looks, set designs, puppets, and playbill programs. However, there is now an update to this, where now it looks like this little phenomenon is actually going to be one step ahead, and it looks like now they're going to be combining all these elements together to create a legitimate show. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it is actually going to be for Ratatouille, the TikTok musical. No, it's not going to be on stage yet, even though the St. James Theater did promote the Ratatouille TikTok musical on its banner. So, like, this could be a preview of, like, what could be to come. You never know. But yes, apparently, Seaview Productions is going to be creating a film concert based on the TikTok musical of Ratatouille, taking all these ideas together and actually make them work together to make this massive, cohesive musical. And this is actually going to be a benefit. It's actually going to be a benefit concert in which it will be streaming on Today Tix on New Year's Day, January 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern. And the proceeds, in which the tickets are $5 each, they will all go into the Actors Fund. Now, there isn't any necessarily a confirmation regarding who's going to be in the cast, which elements are they going to take from each of the TikToks to put it onto this musical. There's no confirmation regarding which songs they're going to do. I think Ode to Remy is going to be an obvious one, but we don't know about some of the others. We don't know about Tango for Colette and Linguini. We don't know about Trash is Our Treasure, and we don't know about Anyone Can Cook. So that's still going to be something we will have to wait and see. But on top of that, we do have some quotes coming from a few people discussing about, like, their big plan about this. And one of them is actually going to be from the senior manager of content at TikTok US, Lizzie Hale, and she states, "It has been magical to watch the TikTok community create and embrace the Ratatouille musical. From Emily's original Ode to Remy to Shoebox musical set designs, seeing the endlessly creativity of the platform and the wider community rallying around it has inspired and driven a new forum for theater lovers to express themselves, participate, and enjoy the show." We also got a quote here from the CEO of Seaview Productions, Greg Noble, states, "Finding new outlets for creative collaborations have never been more imperative than it is right now. We can't wait to share what these remarkable creators have dreamed up, which will now allow them to benefit other artists through the vibrant work of the Actors Fund." And honestly, after going through all this, after understanding, like, what this is all about, I'm gonna be very honest, I can't help but feel like this entire Ratatouille musical is just beautiful. And I don't necessarily mean like, oh, like all the ideas they came up as like, oh, like how funny this meme has become, and it's like this the fun silly musical and stuff. No, I think there really is this true heartfelt beauty that is coming from this Ratatouille musical. And it's honestly one of the very few memes that is doing much more good, especially to the community that it is aiming for. Because you got to keep in mind, during this pandemic, the theater community has been hit massively hard. In fact, you could say that the theater community has been hit the hardest when it comes to the pandemic, even to the point that so many theaters have shut down, or in fact, like almost all the theaters have pretty much been shut down, and like even Broadway has been completely vacant throughout most of 2020, leaving a lot of people working in the crew, and especially among actors, mostly leaving them out of work, unfortunately, so they can only do the best they can in order to find whatever work they could do. It's been like possibly the toughest time for these people, especially for these actors, which was already tough enough to try to find some gigs, but now with this, it kind of makes their situation a bit hopeless. But then comes this idea of coming together to create the Ratatouille musical, where you see the whole theater community come together and create this special little project where, like, this is pretty much, I guess the best way you could put it is that this is a project for the community by the community, where they all band together in order to go and keep the spirit of Broadway alive, in order to go and create a musical that is based on an animated classic right now like Ratatouille. And I know some people might think it's kind of a weird choice to turn Ratatouille into a musical, but technically this is not the first time that a Pixar movie would be turned into a stage musical. While none of it has made it to Broadway, technically Disney has already turned Toy Story into a stage musical, and a pretty big elaborate one as well, that has appeared momentarily at Disney California Adventure as well as on the Disney Cruise Line. I remember watching the Toy Story musical, and it was actually a lot of fun to see. It was honestly great. And with so from there, like, why not turn Ratatouille into a musical? Like, there are like, I could see a few of them that probably wouldn't work as much, like The Incredibles or WALL-E. Oh, and also, I just remembered, technically, there was also Finding Nemo, where at Animal Kingdom, that was actually turned into a Lion King-style puppet-oriented musical with music by Robert and Kristen Anderson Lopez. So it is legitimately doable to turn a Pixar film into a musical. So why the fridge not Ratatouille? And seeing all that, and anyways, going back to what I was talking about, seeing the whole theater community together and, keeping their creativity, keeping their inspiration alive, it's honestly a beautiful thing that they have done in order to, like, keep that magic alive during the pandemic, because this is something that unfortunately the pandemic has taken away from us. It has taken away it has taken theater away from us. So at least with this, it found a new plot. Like, musicals have found a new platform. It found a new way for the platform to survive. Hold on a sec. Why are you? Anyways, sorry, it's just my computer was just doing weird things suddenly. It's like I saw Discord popping up. It's like, why are you here? Anyways, back to what I was saying. But yeah, I do find it so beautiful that stage musicals have found a new platform in order to survive, in order to find a new way to maintain the creativity, to keep the spirits up for people, and in order to go and continue forward. And especially now with this Seaview production of the Ratatouille TikTok musical, the fact that it is actually a benefit concert, that it is going towards the Actors Fund, is also an additional beautiful thing, because now you're pretty much turning this entire, what people could consider a meme, and you're turning it into something that could really go and help out the community, to help out the community for actors, for crew members, for people in the stage community and in the theater community in general that have been hit the hardest. So honestly, overall, I feel like with this whole thing, like, it's crazy that it has turned into such a massive phenomenon. And I'll say right now, I would not be surprised whatsoever if one day we would legitimately see a Ratatouille Broadway musical that once Broadway can reopen again, then we would actually see a legitimate Ratatouille musical that could even feature some of those songs from TikTok, stuff like "Ode to Remy" and "Anyone Could Cook," or even "Trash Is Our Treasure." Like, I feel like there is that legitimate possibility, but who knows? But overall, I applaud the theater community for doing this, and honestly, I love to see how this Ratatouille musical would flourish. Now, if there is one thing that I would ask, however, one thing that I definitely do hope for is that I really do hope Disney doesn't freaking pull I just hope they don't pull a Nintendo on this one. Honestly, like, I just hope that Disney doesn't just randomly interfere and they would just put in some kind of copyright claim onto this and just shut it down entirely. We do not need that right now, because, like, you could tell that everything about this Ratatouille musical is well-intentioned, that they're doing it for, they're doing it for the best, for the whole community. It's for for everyone to help each other out. And hopefully, like, I just hope, like, a big company like Disney wouldn't just take that away. Like, hopefully Disney will understand the good that's actually coming out of this Ratatouille musical, and they can maybe help expand upon it. Who knows? So that's all I'm asking, Disney. Just don't touch this. Don't go full Nintendo on Ratatouille the musical, all right? Leave that thing alone. Leave the theater community to do their thing, all right? Let them do their thing, and then when things get back to normal, then you could step in and actually make a real Ratatouille musical. All right, so with that said, let's go into the chat wall, and I'm going to ask you all, how do you feel about the Ratatouille musical challenge? How do you feel about this whole meme about turning Ratatouille into a musical? Are you all on board on it? Is this something that you're not really into? Let me know what you all think about this. Alright, when I first heard of this story, I was like, Ratatouille, really? But after hearing the story, it makes my heart glow to know that this has brought up good spirits in the Broadway community that has been hit the hardest by the pandemic, even more so than the movie community. Absolutely. Like, even with Broadway musicals, it's not something like you could just transfer onto streaming services, it's not like anyone can do like what Hamilton did. Let's see. This really does seem better than it has any right to be. Considering how we are living in the age of the pandemic, it is going to be refreshing to see a Broadway show created by fans from TikTok out of all places. So overall, I think it's a great idea that I can't wait for it. And at least it isn't a meme like Big Chungus where you put it on a t-shirt and make it incredibly cringy. Yeah, you definitely got that right, dude. When I heard of TikTok trying to create a Ratatouille musical, I passed it off as a goof. But now with this, I have to give these guys all props, especially coming from TikTok, a social media that can really be toxic with people like the vegan teacher. So with that, I really have to commend these people. I guess you could say Anyone Can Cook is a good musical. Yeah, basically, man. And that's kind of the beauty of this. It really is kind of the beauty of the fact that they picked Ratatouille to be the subject of their major musical, because technically the moral of Ratatouille is anyone can cook. That's kind of like the big theme that's been going around, like that pretty much literally followed Remy on his journey with that ghost like Gusteau. So from there, seeing that like anyone can contribute to the Ratatouille musical with their little piece of what they want to see in Ratatouille, or in the Ratatouille musical, honestly, it keeps the it not only keeps the spirit of stage musicals alive, but it oddly really does refine the theme of Ratatouille, and it refines the moral of Anyone Can Cook. So there is that beauty right there. Let's see now. Wow, I didn't expect Ratatouille would end up getting a stage musical done in TikTok form. Didn't hear about this news until now, and I find it odd and strangely enough to see that this could work. Broadway musical has been hit the hardest, more so than theaters, when it comes to the pandemic, and it would be alright to see these guys make it happen. Good luck to them, And let's hope they can make it happen. Exactly. Let's see. It's amazing that how an idea from one person can make something like this. This is also pretty ironic. Like Remy, they had this tiny thing that just had this spark, and that spark led to something incredible. I will certainly be pleased both. It will certainly please both musical fans and Ratatouille fans, especially since Shafrilla's video, that guy, about the movie. Wait, I don't know. What did Shafrilla say about the movie? Because honestly, that dude, that with his takes, it's not something that I don't know if we could really trust those takes. Anyways, speaking of, I can only imagine his reaction to this. Actually, what did he say about Ratatouille? Like, is he a fan of Ratatouille, or I don't know, because like usually the guy can grift on like the Disney hate. So let's see. Where do we go now? I'll go. You know what? I'll just read one more, or no, I'll go and read two more actually. My thoughts on this is what? Although, let's see. Oh no, wait. Apparently, oh okay. Apparently, he loves Ratatouille. He finds it's his favorite Ratatouille. Okay, it's his favorite Pixar movie. Okay, all right. I see. I gotcha. Anyways, my thoughts on this. What? Although I haven't seen the movie in a while, it's so weird to start off as a meme but later turn into a TikTok musical, which I'm not that interested in TikTok to begin with. Also, I know this isn't related, but I would also give honorable mentions to the other stories that haven't gotten their own, like Sonic and Netflix series collab and the massive controversy with Nintendo and the Smash and Splatoon community. Yeah, there is that, definitely. This is honestly the first I've heard of this, I do have to say. However, it's good to see creatives not able to express themselves in their usual Broadway stage platform finding a way to still be able to do so in another way. I do worry about how Disney might react to this, but I hope they allow and encourage them to continue working on this musical. Yeah, I definitely do get what you mean. And with that said, that should conclude this epic episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. I told you that this would be a huge episode, but I'm glad that we have made it to the end. And with that said, I would like to say thank you all so much for listening, and thank you all so much for watching. I don't know if next time is going to be as big as this, but still, I'm sure it's still going to be as fun as this. So once again, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. And until next time, see you later, dudes!